So, did you see anything on the new Supergirl movie, man?
I saw the trailer and it looked pretty bad. So I showed it to my daughter and I was like, "Hey, let's go check this out." Like, it's got a pretty good cast, I think. I mean, Momoa's in there. So yeah, I mean,
I'll
definitely
be
want to
honest
check it
with you.
out.
I don't like Jason Momoa in there at all, especially playing Lobo. I think it's a horrible choice. They should have picked a character, somebody new, somebody that fits that character a little better, and then they could have had a franchise off of it. I think by picking Manoa, who already done Aquaman. I
Manoa.
know, right? Already done Aquaman. It's like, it's kind of tired. They needed
It's almost
somebody, and
he saturated the market.
he said he wanted to play this role. He is a Lobo fan, according to him. He's been wanting to play this character for a long time, but yeah, I don't think it was right for the movie. And I'm sitting here looking at it. It's projected to earn approximately 38 to 40 million in domestic opening weekend, landing second behind Toy Story 5. The film's performance is being characterized as a box office bomb after significantly falling short of its initial 70 million tracking estimate. So it had to make
So it
it's
just
going to
opened
lose
though,
money.
right?
What's that?
It just opened though, right?
It
So there's
just
still time for it to recoup.
no. She made some comments about men, and it didn't go very well. And it opened at second place behind Toy Story 5.
Second place isn't bad. Obviously, falling half of your budget short or half of your projected short is not good, but
Yeah, but I'm sitting here looking at it now. The cost of the movie, 170, 186 million dollars for the movie. Uh, let's see, that's the production budget.
not good, man.
Right. It says the break even point range estimates from 315 as high as 465 to 562 million depending on the source. So they are going to lose a massive amount of money on this movie. And I think
So what happens when they lose that amount of money? Like, sure they could absorb it because they're multi-billion-dollar company,
well, I had
but
seen a thing years ago and I don't know how true this is, but movies have to produce failures, right? That's why a lot of them have these B movies and C movies because they have to have something to
right.
write down the profit for the successful movies to mark it down. The problem is when they have a movie that's supposed to be successful that becomes a bomb, then they're actually in the red and it skews their financials because we made X, Y, and Z. We know it was going to be a markdown because this movie here was going to produce X amount. So they've got the markdowns there, but when your movie that's supposed to
But don't
make
they recoup a
profits,
lot of that? Don't they recoup a lot out of that when it goes to a streaming service, say Amazon or Netflix or anything like that? Don't they recoup a good bit of that?
yes, but but see, the thing is, you got a subscription to Amazon, right? You got a subscription to Netflix, you got a subscription to Hulu, you got a subscription to Disney. Anything they post on there does not increase the amount of revenue that they get, right?
Well, they have to sell the rights to Netflix or Amazon, correct?
Right. You're absolutely right. But how much are they going to give them for a movie that came in second place on its opening weekend to Toy Story 5? I mean,
Toy Story. Hold on. Let's not overshadow the fact that Toy Story is one of the most brilliant, I guess, franchises in the history, right?
well,
I mean, behind Minions, I would think.
so Toy Story 5 released June 19th. So it released last weekend, and Supergirl released, I believe, this weekend. So it came in second
So it
place.
still came in second after on the second weekend of Toy
Toy
Story
Story
5.
5, right. So James Gunn has directed Superman 2025, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Peacemaker, The Suicide Squad 2021, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. And I will give him credit for the first Guardians of the Galaxy. That movie completely changed the way superhero movies are made from top to bottom, 100%. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Deadpool had a lot to do with that. And when the Guardians of the Galaxy came up, that was just like dude, the Chris Pratt's character in that with his sarcasm and mannerism was brilliant, brilliant, beautiful. And movie 43, Super, Slither, and Tormo and Juliet. I have not seen that one.
All right, so I got the list of highest grossing animated films. Okay, you're not gonna
Hmm.
probably know the number one. Want to take a stab at it?
The number one animated film of all time.
Yep, it's not U.S.
No, I know it's not going to be U.S. I'm going to say it's going to be some type of Japanese anime. It would be my
Close.
guess.
Niza from China.
Knees.
2.2 N-E-Z-H-A.
Hmm.
Niza. And it's from China, grossing 2.2 million.
Dude, I tell
Or
you,
two.
there are some
Sorry,
wonderful
2.2 billion.
there are some wonderful.
Zootopia, Inside Out, Lion
Okay.
King,
Yep.
Frozen,
Yep.
Super Mario Brothers, or Frozen 2 is number five.
Not a fan of Super
Frozen 1 is
Mario's.
number seven. Incredibles 2, number eight.
Good movie.
Minions at nine. And
Good
Toy
movie.
Story 4 at number 10.
Toy Story 4, number 10. I would have suspected to see the Toy Story on there, or the Toy Story, the original one, over the other one.
So we've got Toy Story 1 is not even in the top 50.
Isn't that crazy? I think that's probably one of those slow burners. Came out, everybody
Yeah.
watched it a little bit. It did fairly well. Everybody's enjoyed it, and everybody's seen it.
So what's crazy is you got Toy Story 4 and 3 at 10 and 11.
And I will say that's
So like
impressive for the sequels to do better than the original. It tells you how good the original actually was and how people grew to love it.
right. So the what I told you earlier was the Minions. So the Minions at nine, and then they have Despicable Me at 13, Despicable Me 3 at 13, Despicable Me 4 at 17, Despicable Me 2 at 18. So that franchise is right up there along
Yeah,
with um, Finding Dory. I don't even see the original of that.
Finding Dory was up
Finding
there.
Yeah, Finding Nemo's ahead of Finding Nemo. Dory's at 14 and Nemo's at 20.
Really?
And then Minions: The Rise of Gru at 21. So again, to batter my point, the Despicable Me, the Minions franchise is really, I think, top tier. I
But
thought Toy Story was going to be more so than them, but not according to this.
I think what they've done is the girl they've got playing her, in my opinion, when I see the girl playing her, she reminds me of like the troubled teen that nobody wants to be around because she's going to be trouble. That's just how that character comes across as
And
me.
we're talking about the Supergirl, right?
Yeah, just her general
Okay.
appearance and look is trailer park trash. You know what I mean? She's always going to be in
Hey,
trouble,
there ain't nothing wrong with them. No trailer park. Come
right? But
on,
I'm
man.
just no. What I'm just saying is when you have, I mean, okay, let's be honest here. When you look at the Superman movies, okay, so the people who like Superman are older generations, right? Let's be honest here. The older generation we grew up with, who was the original Superman in the movies we watched?
Christopher Reeves.
So that is a high bar to live up to. And I think the Supermans, except I did not care for the last Superman movie in 2025, he did not have the. I don't want to say
Who
it's
was the
old.
last Superman? I know what's his name played it. Uh the guy
It
that
was
played The Witcher. Henry
David
Cavill played it.
David Cornsweet, I believe, something like that. Cornsweet, like
Okay,
C
yeah,
O R.
I didn't watch the latest one.
They, the problem is they're trying to make it for the younger generation instead of focusing on building the character. I mean, Superman is above par with manners. He is above par with honor and dignity. And when you're trying to, the new one just was not a fit for Superman for me.
Isn't that the the beauty of filmmaking, though, just making an opposite to what everybody believes Superman to be with the Supergirl saga. Like, does that kind of like bolster the, hey, yeah, Superman is this, but Supergirl is this?
Yeah, but I think there's
I
a
mean, just putting a
difference.
fresh spin on it.
I don't have a problem with the fresh spin, but you can't lose the core principle of the character. Okay, remember when we did Batman versus Superman, right? And then you had
Right.
Doomsday. Everybody surprisingly was afraid the movie was going to be horrible, but they actually liked it. And then when they seen how Doomsday looked, they did not like Doomsday because it had the character was more monstrosity. It was more of a monstrosity than it was a human. Whereas Doomsday's always been a human, kind of like Frankenstein, right? You see the human first, then the monster second, which is what makes Frankenstein work. With Doomsday in that movie, you seen the monster first, and you really didn't see a human aspect of it. And so with the Supergirl and the last Superman, you're losing what the core principle of Superman is, which is the same core principle that Supergirl carries, is in my opinion. I think if you lose that aspect of the better days, the better generation, because everybody looks back at the 50s and 60s and think, leave it to Beaver and all that when everything's nice and everything's swell. And that's kind of what Superman in that legacy represents is everything's good and everything's fine and everything's normal. And when you start to kind of
What's the
twist
mantra of
that,
the superhero, right?
exactly, you have to keep that core principle of what that
But
superhero is.
but can we agree on this one fact that they're changing the mantra of what a superhero is now,
Well,
right?
you
Because forever we grew up with Spider-Man, Superman, Hulk, and everything, and now it's changing. We're like, all right, we got the Dark Spider-Man, we've got the Dark Superman, or the Dark Knight, or what have you. We've got so many superheroes that they're changing to villains instead of the anti-villain.
But that's the thing is we have so many villains and anti-villains. Venom. I'm a big Venom fan, right? Because it's like, is he good? Is he bad? Depends on how you look at it. I mean, you read the comic books. He was scorned as a Eddie Brock by Spider-Man, so he has a hatred for it. And we can all relate to that, being mad at somebody we feel like's done us wrong, and then we get these superpowers and think we can get
Yeah.
revenge, And then we have when they did Venom, which is a great movie. But I think that they really lost that core principle for those of us who actually read the comic book on what drove him as a character. And when you lose that, I think that's the main core of that whole for us people who actually know the character, and which is what's so disappointing. Yes, the general audience who doesn't know the backstory thinks it's a great movie and they love it, but for those of us that have grew up reading the comic books, we that whole core issue that relates us emotionally to that character is gone.
Right. No, I agree. So I was just digging around, changing the subject just a touch
Yeah.
here.
What you got?
I found a good top 10 list.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Top 10 funniest movie quotes.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to do some editing here, but anyway, go ahead. What do you got? What do you got, bud?
Well, no, I don't think so. Uh, but here we go.
Okay.
Number 10. I'm a cotton headed Ninny Muggins
What?
from Elf.
Never was an Elf fan. I didn't recognize that at all.
Okay. Well, it comes up a couple times. All right.
Okay.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Once again, I got nothing. What is that?
Godfather.
I was never a Godfather fan. I know people are
Didn't,
gonna hate me. They're gonna hate me for that, but anyway, go ahead. What else you got?
all right. You got to get this one. If you don't, we got to shut it down.
Okay. What do you got?
All right, all right, all right.
Everybody knows Matthew McConaughey. Move along. Go ahead. The next one.
All right. Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts. What is that one from?
Breakfast Club.
Really? And I love that
All right.
movie.
You got to get this one.
Okay.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Oh, of course, The Sandlot.
Got it.
Everybody loves The Sandlot.
All right.
Classic.
I don't think you're gonna get this one, but we'll do it anyway.
Okay.
Number 5. That's it. Dishonor. Dishonor your whole family. Dishonor you. Dishonor on your cow.
Ooh, what is that?
Mulan.
No, I would have never got that. I did not watch Mulan. You are
All
absolutely
right.
right on that one. You got me. You got me, dude. You got me.
You should get this one.
Okay.
Bye, Felicia.
What is that?
Well, I think this term or this quote comes up so much in our society. Everybody uses it, but I don't think a lot of people know what movie it actually came from.
Okay.
Friday.
Ooh. Well, let's see. No, I'm going to stop you right there. That is not the quote from Friday. The number one quote from Friday that I've heard is Greg, or when he says, "Get your out of my face." I think everybody would have known that from Friday. Or the
No, the
damn.
most famous, yeah, the most
Exactly.
famous Friday quote is, "Hey y'all, Smokey back here taking a shit. I ain't gonna tell nobody else though."
Okay. All right.
All
I
right,
got a list I'm pulling up here next.
all
Oh,
right.
this
Number
is
3.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's pretty bad itself.
Okay.
Number 3, you'll be able to get this one. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Oh, dude, I can see that.
Oh,
Yes, Home
come on.
Alone. Home Alone.
There you go. There you go.
It's been a long time.
All right, you should be able to get this one too. I
Okay.
think you're a fan of this movie. It's just a flesh wound.
You're gonna have to no. You're gonna have to tell
All
me
right, hold
because
on. Oh, oh, it's just a flesh wound.
you're gonna have to tell me. I'm sorry.
Monty Python.
Dude, it has
When
been.
he cuts his arms and legs off.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. And then he's hopping on one leg, and he's yeah. Good
Yeah.
night. Yep.
Oh, it's just a flesh wound.
Yep.
All right. So number 1, I don't agree with at all. You're not a fan of it already. So you sit on a throne of lies.
What is that
Elf.
from?
Elf.
That is absolutely incorrect. So let me tell you how bad. Is that from just like AI? Is AI pulling that up?
So that's Microsoft Copilot. Yep.
I have
I
not
mean,
taken
not to
one.
put you on the spot.
Yeah, right. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but how dumb are you?
Well,
Okay.
when that show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader came on, I sat back and I watched it. And a lot of that we don't remember because how often do you have to remember what the capital of Uruguay is?
Just long enough to pass the test in social studies.
And then move it along.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, do you know the difference between a trapezoid and a rhombus?
Number of sides.
Well, not doing too good on the World Cup here, bud.
What do you think the top podcasts are? We need to look at those too.
I knew New Heights was up there for the longest time.
New Heights. What is that?
That's with the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan and the Diary of a CEO. The Good Hangout.
Joe Rogan, Crime Junkie, The Daily, Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper, Smartless, Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, Will Arnett, Stuff You Should Know. Not sure who that's from.
Yeah.
Dateline NBC. This past weekend with Theo Vaughn, of course.
Lucky Boy.
Uh, Mr. Ballin. And then New Heights is number 10.
The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast. Is that the guy from SNL from Lonely Island that did the music tracks with Justin Timberlake on Saturday Night Live?
Who?
Lonely Island.
What's the guy's name?
Well, the name of the podcast is Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast.
No, it was Andy Sandberg that did Justin Timberlake
Yeah,
thing.
that's
But
what I was
Andy
asking. But the name of the band
said,
was Lonely Island, wasn't
maybe, yeah. Yeah. Can we say
it? Yeah, everybody knows it. It's my dick in a box.
it? uh, Conan O'Brien needs a friend. Head Talks
Yep,
Dirty.
Lonely Island.
Planet Money. Megan Kelly Show. Rotten Mango. Morbid. American Life. Bad Friends. Oh, Bad Friends is funny. Have you watched that?
I have not.
That's
Unf-
Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino.
Unfortunately, until I make enough money where I can do this full time and get into the full things and keep everybody entertained, I have to go to work, or at least show up at least for 40, 45 hours a week on top of this.
Don't lie to me. You know you're watching podcasts and shit like that while you're working.
I don't watch any podcast. I want to be the podcast.
We are the
We
podcast.
are the podcast, except nobody's
The
watching
Two
us.
Idiots broadcast.
Hey, dude, absolutely. What's wrong with that?
Not a damn thing.
You're exactly right.
So unfortunately, I made a series of bad bets over the last couple of days.
Let me guess, soccer?
Of course, the
That's
most
the
bet on sport in history.
that's the hottest thing right now, man. That's hotter than Magic Mike.
Uh, um, yeah, I mean, so funny story about soccer and the World Cup. I wasn't a soccer fan, didn't play growing up.
Right.
I played football and baseball and ran
Absolutely.
track,
Yep.
like typical Americans. That's our sport. That's what we do,
America.
America. So my buddy asked me one time, he goes, the World Cup is going on. You want to go drink at a bar, watch the World Cup? Sure. What time? And I think it was in either South Africa or I can't remember exactly where it was. I think it was South Africa. But we had to get up, and so a lot of the local bars opened at 9 a.m. that morning because the game started at 10. Most bars around here, they don't open until 11, 11:30,
Well,
something like that, right?
they're not on Irish time, but anyway, go ahead.
Right. So I'm like, sure. So we go to this local pub called Irish, or not Irish, Famous Pub. And they're in droves. People draped in American flags, people draped in English flags, Algeria, Ghana, uh, Ireland. I mean, you just name it. They got the flags on. It's a full party, right?
Supporting their country.
At 9 a.m. on like a Thursday. Where do you all not have work? What? I mean, I guess they could have said the same about me, but I just took vacation time, right?
Well, I will give you one thing real quick on that is I always wondered why people who, you see these protesters out here every time something happens. It's like, we don't protest because we have work the next day. I guess it's the same thing with the soccer people is if it's a soccer game, you will put the soccer game first, right?
100%. I mean, when it comes to the World Cup, all bets are off. I mean, people save up for years to be able to go to the game to support their country. I mean, just think about it. Have you seen all the clips of the Scotland people in, was it Boston? I think. Yeah, Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, everybody's great. So there's two clips. One, Scotland, they're picking up, they have a party in the park and they pick up all their trash. I think it was South Korea or Japan. After their game, they picked up all the trash in their section from the stadium. They cleaned up after themselves. So they had a guy that's a city worker for Boston. They're like, I love Scotland. Like these guys they're rowdy, they're great. But guess what? They pick up after themselves.
Yeah.
So we love them.
Yeah, and they love being here, man.
And
They love the stadiums. They've never seen anything like it.
they ran out of beer
I
in
heard that.
Boston.
Yep.
They ran out of beer. Like They had to have emergency trucks come in to bring more beer in. And the Scotland guy goes, "Oh yeah, they ran out of beer. All they had was Bud Light, and we're not drinking that." But we need more Sam Adams.
Right? Anything. Modella, anything. You know.
I don't think Scottish are drinking Modelo, but teach their own.
Well, I mean, they've drank everything else before they drink Budweiser, so Modelo's not a bad beer. I mean, they know what a good beer is, and they know what a beer they don't want to be seen holding is, and that's one right there. But I will say, I'm
But
I'm I'm amazed at the amount of people who have just like become hardcore soccer fans in like the last 3 weeks. It's like
so
never
let
talked
me
about
go.
it before, never watched a game before, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, this is the greatest." It's like when your team wins the Super Bowl or they put on somebody else's jersey, jumping on the bandwagon. To me, it's like I've never. It's like they're just. It's crazy.
So there's two things to unpack there. One, bandwagon fans, of course, but you also got to look at it like this. This is a country event, kind of like the Olympics, right? So you might not be a soccer fan, but you're a fan of your country, right? And so a lot of people will gather for that, for the Olympics, for the World Cup, whatever it has to do with our country, people will join that movement. And what we're seeing right now in the United States is the opposite, no different than what we talked about the last podcast. Is you're seeing a lot of foreigners, people from Europe, Africa, South America, coming over to our country, going, "This is nowhere near what we expected," based on what our media, their local media, is giving them, that Americans are assholes and they don't want to have anything to do with this. No different than if you like look at travel to this country or travel to that country, like, oh, there's a travel ban on that country because they don't like tourists, they don't like Americans, and rightfully so in certain cases. But I think the bigger picture that everybody is missing, that soccer is bringing to the world right now, is that we all are humans. At the end of the day, we have to come together. And if soccer's the point that we all come together on, why not?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm out. I'm just not a soccer fan. I know it's amazing to me, and I think it's great that these people love their sport. Don't get me wrong, but growing up, soccer was always a children's game, and to me, it's like I told my wife this is like you want to make. It's like if you took all the worst aspects of every sport in the world and put them into one, you'd have soccer. Nobody wants to run. Okay. Okay, what do they do in soccer? They run back and forth all day long. Nobody wants to watch a low scoring game. Okay, you want a low scoring game? You watch soccer. Okay, do you want a game that has no contact? No, not really. Well, if you want a game with no contact but people get hurt, soccer. And I know they're running fast and they get hurt, but it doesn't look like anything spectacular like football or even in the NBA when it's an elbow to the face, or MMA or anything like that. It doesn't look that violent. But, if they shortened the field, had them, carry scissors in their hands, then I'm in.
I'm looking up a stat real quick.
What stat are you looking up? Number of
Who
injuries?
flops more, NBA or
Well, I'll
soccer?
be honest with you. I don't watch the NBA. I can't stand to watch basketball anymore. There's, from the era of Jordan to this era now is not the same basketball that was played.
As of 2017, 52 or 50.2% for basketball and 49.8 for soccer. So pretty much dead even on flops. However, what soccer has done is they have introduced a dive call where if there's no contact, and it happened against the U.S. the other day, no contact, but yet you go down and act like you got fouled, you get a yellow card.
I,
So the way the card, go ahead.
no, I think you hit on something earlier. Is I don't know if it's so much soccer, and it's just dawned on me, or if it's country pride, having pride in your
Oh, it's
country and
100%
supporting your
country pride.
country. Not so much the
It's
sport
100%.
itself, but your country itself.
100% country pride. Like I said, it goes with the Olympics. you know, who gives a shit about the breaststroke, right? Who
Right.
cares about, slalom skiing? Who
I'll give you
cares
that.
about, you know,
Well, I will say real
who
quick while we're on the Olympics, what is her name? Simone Biles?
Lindsey Vonn?
No, not Lizzie
Who?
Vaughn. Simone Biles. Can't stand her.
Simone Biles, okay.
She got what she called the twisties and hung her team out to dry and walked away and left the team hanging. Done with her. Can't. No. You perform for your team. It's not about you. It's about your country and it's about your team. And I will give soccer credit. It is about the team and it is about your country. And when she walked away and just like, oh, I don't fit. No, 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 no. I'm not a soccer fan, but I know these guys will play through every injury they have as best they can, and they will perform for their team and for their country. To say, oh, I don't feel like playing is crap. You're horrible because those girls that was on the team with you that year didn't come back the next time the Olympics rolled around, and you made sure
Right.
that you screwed them over. Shame on you. You are nobody to be put on a Wheaties box. What makes a great athlete is performing when the cards are stacked against you, not when they're in your favor.
Exactly.
That's what makes a
Exactly.
hero. And if you can't perform when the cards are stacked against you, then you are not a hero and you do not deserve to be on a Wheaties box. Period.
So that brings me to the point, right? So I don't know if you saw or seen any of the commercial leading up to this World Cup and
Oh, yep.
what they're talking about. Okay. So one of the main ones, which gave me goosebumps because I'm a prideful person. I like, my country and I like our teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they put on a commercial going, all right, so the U.S. does this, the U.S. does that, men's soccer team. We got booted out early, the last World Cup. Uh, it's on home soil. Everybody's gearing up, and two guys are sitting at a bar and they go, do you really think that we could win the World Cup? And the guy goes, I don't know. I'll give us an outside chance to do it. Okay. And then it pans over to another guy sitting at the bar and he goes, what? You don't believe in miracles? And it's the guy that coached the 85 men's hockey team that won the
Yeah.
Olympic gold,
Miracle
which
on Ice.
Miracle on Ice, right? Which the U.S. just did again,
Yeah, with
but
Canada.
prior to that, it was 1985.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I agree with you 100%. I think, hockey is a completely different sport. It is a physical sport. It's football on ice, and it's a little bit of soccer with a stick, you know, makes it interesting. And I think a problem for me is the low scoring. It's very, when you win by 1 point, 2 points max, anything like 3 points is considered a blowout, is it just I miss that competitiveness.
so what do you
Does that make
consider high
sense?
scoring? What sport do you consider high scoring?
Well, I mean, in football, for instance, you can come back in the fourth quarter and win, being 2, 3 touchdowns down, right? In soccer, if you score a goal in the first part of soccer, it's like, oh my goodness, the team is like defeated because we're already 1 point down. It's so hard to come back from being one.
Well,
If you're 2 points down or 3 points down, it's considered a complete blowout in soccer. I mean, aren't the
because
majority of the
it's more
games won?
tactical, though, more tactical. Okay, so and I think this is where the misconception comes into play because you say we're down 2 touchdowns. Okay, that's down 2 goals,
Yeah,
right? Now, are touchdowns easier to come by than goals in soccer and goals in hockey? Maybe.
I would say yes, and that's what makes it more. To me, that's what makes it more interesting because it's more possible to happen. In soccer, I think the guys are at such a high skill level, and I'm not taking anything away from the soccer players. They're at such a high skill level that the
Yeah,
odds
you
of
get up two,
scoring
three
a
goals, you hunker down and play defense the whole
yeah,
time.
the odds of scoring a point is highly unlikely. Where in football, you have that momentum shift. You have that breakout. You have that one play that you not only builds for that one score, but changes the entire game. I don't see that in
I mean,
soccer.
but that's the build up to it, right? Is there are not a lot of goals scored. So when you see a goal scored, it's like, the roof blows off. Like
Yeah.
that's a monumental moment because it is that hard to score a goal or to score a goal in hockey. It is that monumental buildup that makes it so interesting. People look at it and go, yeah, that's not interesting. I don't want to watch them go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, with the World Cup, now we're about today is the last day of group stage. So we go into the knockout stage, elimination.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not going to see draws. And I think that's the biggest part of what people don't understand about soccer is the draws. U.S. football has draws. They do. After overtime, the first overtime in football, if the score's still tied, it's a draw. Now, used to not be like that, but I think 4 or 5 years ago they changed it. Uh, so with soccer, it, it's on the table. It's still on the table with soccer. Well, once you get to that knockout stage, they go 120 minutes extra time,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, two 30-minute periods, I think, is what it is. Two 30-minute periods of extra time, and then they go to a shootout. No different than in hockey. I think they got two 15-minute periods, and then they go to shootouts. And that's where it really gets fun. So once we get to the knockout stage, which starts tomorrow, you'll see a lot more interesting football. They're not playing for a draw. They're not playing for the safety. They're playing to win the ball game.
Now, when does the U.S. play again?
Uh, I think Wednesday.
Wednesday. Now, was this the game? And I heard that they were going to be able to. They were going to like set their stars out, and because they were in the next round, regardless of what happened, so they were going to set players out.
Okay, so that was the last game against. I'm going to mispronounce it, but we call it Turkey, but they call
Right.
it Turkey. What is it, babe? Uh, Turkey.
Okay. Now, did they win?
The U.S. lost in the last second. So
But they were
what
playing their
ended up
second string, right? They weren't playing their starters anyway.
that's what's funny about it. They played their second string till about the 75th minute, and then they brought in some of their 18 players, and it didn't go well. I mean, they put the pressure on Turkey. We almost scored a goal several times, and then we didn't. We didn't score the winning goal, so we kind of retreated back a little bit, and then very last second, Turkey scored a goal. But it didn't matter because we
No,
were
it didn't
already in.
matter.
It didn't matter. We already won the group. We already won or advanced to the knockout stage. So there was really no reason to put in the starters, especially Christian Pulisic, because he was the superstar, right? Coming
Well,
off of an injury because he
just
hadn't
getting
played
him
the
out
last two
there to
matches,
get him out there to stretch a little bit and play a little bit. You
getting
know,
some minutes and
yeah,
things like that.
especially
Yeah.
towards, and that's one thing they don't do in the NFL. In the NFL, it's always you play the first series and then you're done. I guess in soccer, you can kind of play the last series when everybody's kind of wore out and the game's a little slower,
Yeah, you get
decreases
the
your
last
injury risk.
15, 20 minutes, what have you, just to get your legs stretched because you haven't played in 2 weeks and
Yeah, so you don't lose your edge. You want to stay in shape. I get it. You can't just, sit on the couch because then you lose that edge. Especially at that
right.
level, you have to run the car down the drag strip or it rusts.
So I get putting him back in, but all your other starters that weren't hurt, that have had minutes on their legs, don't put them in. You don't need to put them in. Now you've got no fresh legs going into your round of 32, your knockout stage match.
Right.
You know what I mean? and I think that was the bad call on the coach. But I mean, nobody gave us a chance to get out of the group stage, honestly.
So has
So
the
we'll
U.S.
see.
ever has the U.S. have they won the World Cup before?
Never,
Never. Okay. Now, was the World
never.
Cup, is that the pinnacle in soccer?
Yes,
Okay. Is there any other soccer series now? Have the women won the World Cup?
yes.
Okay. And that was when the whole thing with the pay thing came up and all that, and the
Megan
women,
Rapinoe, the whole
yeah,
yeah.
wanting to get paid as much as the men, even though nobody turned the TV on to watch them, and nobody is,
And
you
they
know,
accused the TV stations of well, you're not giving us prime time. They're on at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon
well, that's what time
on
you're
the final
playing.
match of the World Cup.
That's when you're playing.
Well,
That's not doesn't have anything to do with the news channel. I mean, that's what time you're
they
playing.
weren't. Yeah, they weren't publicizing it enough. The whole gamut,
Okay,
and people are
okay.
like, look,
Stop, stop. I'm going to go back to Ronda Rousey when she said
okay,
the most famous quote when they asked her, about her getting paid on par with a man in the UFC. Do you remember what she said?
I don't.
I get paid like a man because I put the butts in the seat like a man. There you go. If people tuned in to watch the women play, they would earn the money, but they don't. They don't watch the women play. When the world's greatest soccer team can be beaten by a 14 and under team easily, that's not a competition people are going to watch. It's just
Right,
not. Yes, it's great watching the women play each other, and it's not anything against them. They're great athletes for what they do, but they're not at the same level and the same caliber. If they were at the same level and the same caliber, they'd be playing together. They're not. It's they can't
right.
compete. They can't keep up.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but we don't watch women's sports like that. It's just it's not the premier thing that everybody's watching,
Now,
unfortunately. But
there
that's just
are
the lay of the land.
there are sports that I think should be for women. I think there are some sports that are more geared towards women that I think women perform better at, and not that they can necessarily beat the men at, but I think they're more okay. Softball, for instance, right? Men can play softball. I know a lot of church leagues and stuff like, but I think
I
professionally,
did. I
softball,
did for a long time.
yeah, I think women perform typically better, especially at pitching, and are more competitive in softball with each other. I think it's more competitive when women play it because it's geared more towards the women's ability, which makes it more competitive. It's not saying that it's slower and that women are weaker or anything like that. It's just saying that I think
Right.
women, when they play softball, it makes them competitive with each other, and I think it's great to watch. When men play softball, it's not that great to watch. Volleyball, I think that men make volleyball because of the spiking and all that. It's a silly game to watch because it's so quick and done and over. But when women play it, the ball's going back and forth. It's interesting to watch. It's the games. There's more chances for this team to come back. It's an interesting sport to watch. And
Yeah.
I think that's what the sports are. Is like with NFL. If it's interesting, people will watch it. And that's just my take on it with those sports. There are some sports where I think women excel at, and it's actually more entertaining to watch women play. And I will say in the NBA, I haven't watched the NBA in years, but with the WNBA, it's more competitive, and it's
With
actually
like
more interesting to
Caitlin
watch the
Clark and all
WNBA
that.
than it is the NBA right now.
I mean, that's subjective, 100%. But yeah, I think Clark and uh, gosh, what was her name?
Sophie, is it Sophie on her team? Or are you talking about Reese?
No, her nemesis,
Reese.
Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they brought a good competitive balance to each other from
Mm,
college into the WNBA,
I'll
and they got
disagree.
all kinds of views, and they advocated for the private jets because they were flying commercial. They advocated for all that stuff, which I think is great that they brought that to the WNBA.
I'm going to disagree with you on that for one reason. One thing. Nobody in this entire planet or this world will know who Angela Reese is or care about Angela Reese if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the reason why people watch the WNBA. Nobody would be going to the seats. Nobody does go to the NBA, WNBA games to watch Angela Reese. Nobody cares about Angela Reese. She is a C tier player. She is a jealous little punk who just, if she was in the NBA or even the NCAA, the coach would take her, that would take that girl and would set her down, and you are not playing. Caitlin
She
Clark has been
was.
attacked and being beat down simply because of her race, and it's unacceptable.
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, uh, you say nobody would know her name, but they did, I guess, by proxy on the fact that her and Caitlin Clark got into it in college.
Only because of Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark is the best woman to probably ever play women's basketball at a professional level and at a college level. She is the reason that people are coming to watch the games. She's the reason why they're turning on their TV. It is not because of Angela Reese. If Caitlin Clark was not there, nobody would know who Angela Reese is, nor would they tune in to watch her at all. She is abusing Caitlin Clark in riding on Caitlin Clark's coattails in order to make a name for herself and to get publicity because nobody cares about Angela
So you're
Reese.
saying if Caitlin Clark didn't exist, Angel Reese just goes by the wayside like all the other WNBA
Exactly.
players?
So let me put it to you this way. Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. You take Michael Jordan never existed, Chicago Bulls, would you consider them one of the greatest teams ever in basketball
Yeah.
without Michael Jordan? I mean, you had Scottie Pippen, John Stockton. They were great
No,
players.
John Stockton wasn't on the Bulls.
Who's the other guy that was on the Bulls with Scottie Pippen and
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman and wasn't it John Stockton? Am I losing my
No, he
mind?
was always with the Utah Jazz. He was a like a nemesis kind of.
But anyway, I'm saying to WNBA, Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. Anybody that comes in the contact or comes within her
Steve
orbit.
Kerr is who you were thinking of.
Oh, is it was Steve Kerr? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes into the radius of Caitlin Clark becomes famous simply because, or popular simply because they're in her orbit. And that's what Angela
Right.
Reese is. She's only noticeable and famous because of Caitlin Clark. Nobody wants to buy products with her face on it. She's not selling seats in a stadium. It comes down to the simple fact that the WNBA is popular right now only because of one person, and they don't like it. They don't like that at all because it's a white girl.
Because a white woman is
Exact
in
100%,
control of the W.
100%.
So I don't want to necessarily say that that's the reason because there's plenty of white women in the WNBA,
Oh, I'm going
right?
to say it right now. That is the only reason. Is because let's be honest here, and I'm not trying to get into a racial thing, but let's be honest here. When it comes to basketball, black players are far beyond white players. They are. That's why you don't see Asians in the NBA. That's why you don't see Hispanics in
Come
the
on,
NBA.
Yao Ming,
One in how many? How many others can you name? There's you can name two or three more.
uh, Jeremy Lin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, and I mean, let's give these guys credit. They're great at what they do. I don't care what their color is. I mean, it. They're great. They are the best of the best, and kudos to you and hats down. You're the best, and that's who should be playing in sports. 100%. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter. It's the thing about sports. It's who's the best, whether it be Tom Brady, LeBron James, Michael
Black,
Jordan.
white, and different is who's the best of the best. And
Exactly.
yes, um,
But
the
could you
NBA
imagine?
and the
Okay,
WNBA are predominantly African American people.
okay. Well,
We've all known that
look at it this way.
for a long time.
Look at the way that Tom Brady was protected in the NFL, and he was the player, the most popular. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but the most popular player in the NFL was Tom Brady, considered the greatest football player of all time. They call him the GOAT, right? He is considered better
Right.
than Peyton Manning, better than Dan Marino, better than Ben Roethlisberger. You name the player, he's considered
I
the
mean,
quintessential
always.
greatest player to ever touch a ball. Okay, Look at how the referees protected him. Look at how the NFL made sure that he did not get injured on that field, right? Could you imagine the NFL treating Tom Brady the way they treated Caitlin Clark? Not calling fouls, not protecting her, not making sure the league's most valuable asset, the only player you have, unlike the NFL, that people tune in to watch, you're allowing to be denigrated and beat down and mistreated. You know, people
Yeah.
when Caitlin Clark is gone, people will turn off the WNBA. They will not watch because they're going to see what is going on and think, I don't like these other girls. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like how they behave. I don't like their mannerisms. Caitlin Clark is getting beat up, and I like to watch her because she handles it professionally. And when this is over and she's gone, I'm not watching. That's what's going to happen to the WNBA. They're going to be in a worse spot than they are right now because they're not protecting the actual player that people are tuning in to watch today.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I don't watch the WNBA. I mean, for obvious reasons. I don't watch the NBA
And neither do I.
unless it comes down unless it comes down to the Hawks being in the playoffs or something.
Well, I
Like
mean, I will
I don't
say I will
watch
watch
I don't watch college basketball
the only thing I watch on the
until March
WNBA.
Madness.
Yeah, the only thing I watch on the WNBA is highlights of Caitlin Clark smoking every team she plays, dropping threes, hitting nothing but net, or Angela Reese collecting her own rebounds because she's the rebound queen because she misses more shots than anybody collecting her own rebounds because it's a comedy show when she plays. And it's like so
Kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters, but in a professional
it's
setting.
like your second most famous player in the WNBA collects her own rebounds because she is unable to hit anything at a free throw level, and it is a comical joke that high school boys can smoke any WNBA team because they're so horrible, and you get one girl who finally changes that, and you want to treat her like crap and
Well,
beat her down because she's white. It's obscene.
okay. So let's table that one.
Table.
And let's go into something a little more progressive here.
Ooh,
I want to get into the UFC. You ready
oh,
for that?
Conor McGregor.
Yeah. So the king is back, they say.
Absolutely, 100% love Conor McGregor.
All right. So before we get into some clips here, what is it that you like most about Conor McGregor and what he brought to the sport?
First off, I will say what I like about Conor McGregor is the fact that Conor McGregor is Irish. We share the same lineage, being an Irishman myself. And Conor McGregor is a trash talker, and everybody loves a trash talker. But everybody loves
Okay.
a trash talker that can back it up. And Conor McGregor has been able to back it
Oh,
up.
Mystic Mac.
Yeah, and not only that is his trash talking is at a whole nother level that is comical and brilliant and entertaining. Conor McGregor is a better entertainer than he's ever been a fighter. He's one of the greatest fighters to ever be in the sport. But the fact that he can entertain outside the ring is what makes him phenomenal above all other fighters.
I agree 100%. You know, one of the best fighters in the UFC, in my opinion, has been John Jones. And you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't sell fights. He just goes out there and performs, but he gets trashed all the time, right? Conor McGregor is completely different on that regard. He goes out there, he sells the fight, and then delivers. If he says round two, it's round two. He knocks them out.
Absolutely. You're
So
100% correct.
let's get into what he has gone through and his legacy of fighting. He has fought at 145, I think even 135, 145, 185 at a catch weight. He's done the boxing with Floyd Mayweather, arguably one of the greatest featherweight or lightweight boxers of all time, undefeated. And Conor McGregor stood in there. I'm going to speak off topic here and say he went 8 or 9 rounds with him. It went to a decision. I can't remember how many rounds. Um, but the fact that Conor McGregor came from nothing, built his brand, built his legacy on himself, betting on himself, got to the point to where he is now. The UFC has tested him 5 times more than any other fighter in the USDA drug pool because, and we can show the clip if we can, of when he got his leg broke against Dustin Poirier. At this point, Herb Dean knows something's not right. Dustin Poirier knows something's not right. Conor McGregor goes down, and everybody knows in the audience, everywhere, everybody knows something's awry. He goes down, and Dustin Poirier finishes the fight, and yet uh, the UFC after the fight decides, okay, well, we got two choices here. We've got a fighter down, uh, but yet we don't want him to take any kind of drugs. Conor McGregor, which is the next clip we're going to show, talks about how they treated him after that fight.
All I cared about was, I'm airlifted out of this fucking arena with my leg hanging off. How am I going to walk again? A bar, do this, do that, do it. That's it. And that was that.
Because we've talked about this with...
If a doctor is prescribing certain medications and certain things to come back, otherwise you're not going to walk again, there's a chance, there's like a 20% chance that leg doesn't join together again. It's called a non-union, where the bone doesn't join. You're left on a wobble forever. That's what's at stake here. This fighting game, are you crazy? I have children to raise and play with. All I want to know is what's going to get me back to my feet to be able to play with my children in a normal capacity again. And that was it. I'm a fighter for the promotion, and I call for proper care for the fighters who risk their life. That's it. That's what I call for.
So, I mean, you just seen the clip there yourself.
So let's get into that. Okay. So he talks about how he broke his leg, and he's not worried about fighting again. He's worried about taking care of his family.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to say one thing. The PEDs we know is an issue in all sports, but at the same time, we all know that athletes, especially men, will do whatever it takes to be able to perform at the top level to beat the opponent. But that aside, is when you are injured, PEDs are irrelevant if they heal your body. When you break a leg or you tear this or you destroy, that is not, when you're taking them for a legitimate reason to get your body back. Now, you can say, oh, well, he just needs to heal, just like, well, no, his job is to be a professional athlete and be able to fight. So he needs to be able to heal where he can go back to do the job he was. And if that means taking performance enhancing drugs during that rehab stage to correct what damage was done because of the sport he plays, I'm perfectly 100% fine with that in any way, shape, or form.
Well, if they say that's not okay, then you can't do that. But I think what the deeper meaning behind what he was saying is he didn't care about coming back to the fight.
Exactly.
He wanted to provide for his family, and that meant hanging out with his kids, being able to run down the beach or run at the ball fields with his kids.
Right.
And we both do, right?
When you're injured in a sport and the doctor says, hey, we need to prescribe this drug or do this treatment because of the type of injury to be able to heal this injury, Just because if you were to take that off label during the season and training and it would give you a performance edge does not negate the fact that it is needed to recoup from an actual injury. That is not the
Right.
same thing as taking that drug to have a performance enhancing abilities. It is
Yeah,
for an
he took
injury.
himself out of the drug pool because of that. He was like, "Look, that's fine. I'll take myself out of the drug pool. I'll retire. Whatever y'all need me to do." Excuse me. Just so that I can make sure that I rehab everything according to plan, so that I can have a quality of life with my kids.
And let's
I mean,
and
you
let's
can't
be
fault the guy for that.
And let's be honest here. Every athlete is going to do, whether it be taking whey protein, whether it be taking creatine, they're going to take every enhancement they can get to make themselves perform at a higher level. Being a former athlete, especially as you start to get older, because as you start to get older, you hit that point where you start to gain strength and mass that you were not able to gain when you were younger. But at the same time, you start to slow down and lose that edge. It is a double-edged sword. You reach your peak for 1 to 2 years in your entire life, and that's it. And I think it's just incredibly insane when someone has an injury like that to think that you have to take medications and treatments off the table for them.
Well, so a lot of them do, right? And everybody's looking for that edge. No different than the PED scandal during MLB.
Well, you got
Jose
Barry
Canseco,
Bonds
Roger
and what
Clemens,
was it, Barry
Barry
Bonds?
Bonds,
Yep.
yeah, the whole list of them. And Clemens got the short end of the stick because he perjured himself on Congress to Congress,
Well,
right?
Jose
But
Canseco became the poster child for opening his mouth when your career is over and running the bus over everybody else because your career was over and you wanted to be famous still and couldn't handle it because it was fine when you were doing it, but now that you were washed up and your career was over, you want to run the bus over everybody else.
yep, exactly. So I think when a lot of athletes they go into these sports, whether it be boxing, UFC, soccer, baseball, football, what have you, they're looking for the latest edge, of course, right? And their doctors should be held liable on a lot of this, and I don't think they are. The doctor goes, "Oh yeah, this is perfectly legal." This not now. Should it be on the fighter to uh, follow up and go, all right, well, this is on the approved list. This is not on the approved list. And that's where all the fighters go plausible deniability. I didn't know that that was what they were putting in my body.
Two things. One, there was becoming from an athlete who played football for several years and was a bodybuilder for many, many years
You're an
until
athlete,
well, my joints, you reach the age, your joints just cannot keep up. You physically
100%.
cannot do it. And I will tell you, when I was younger, there was nothing that I would have put in my body that would have made me better that I would have said no to. When I was younger, if you'd have told me, hey, I can make you the greatest bodybuilder that ever lived, but you'll die at the age of 36, sign me up. Not a problem. I don't care. Get me the strongest, biggest, the best the world has ever seen. Because you know what? Because Arnold Schwarzenegger will live forever. People know who he is. Doesn't matter when he died. If he'd have died when he was 40, he would have been bigger than he is now. For that simple fact, James Dean died young.
Yeah.
The younger you die, the more people remember you. And the same thing with for athletes. It's that moment of fame that men chase. Women don't do it so much, but men do, and we will do and take anything. And so to say that it's
You want a legacy.
the doctor's fault when the doctor is a man, 99% of the time given these drugs to another man, and they understand each other why this man wants to do it. I think that it's not. It's easy to blame the doctor, but it's basically the problem is just being a man wanting to be the best at whatever you do.
So do you think it's more so on the athlete saying, I didn't know what the doctor was putting in me? Or do you think it was the doctor going, yeah, I checked the rules. We're good on this.
There was
Which one do you
no
think?
there was no athlete in the world who doesn't know professional athlete that knows what goes into his body, any way, shape, or form. They know everything that goes into their body because if you're taking a pill, you know what's in that pill. If you're taking an injection, you know what's in that injection. No athlete turns a blind eye to what goes in their body. in any way, shape, or form.
If you hire somebody, okay, let's just play devil's advocate here. If you hire somebody as your nutritionist or health guru, whatever, right?
Right.
You hire that person. You have complete trust that they're putting into your body what is within the rules of whatever sport you're in. And I guess that's where the plausible deniability comes in.
Well, hold on, hold on. If you go to the doctor and he pulls out a needle and says, "Hey, let me give you this injection," what do you say?
What's in it?
There you go. And you don't think someone who's
But
fine?
athletes don't think like that.
Oh, they
Athletes don't think
absolutely
like that,
do. I'm
man.
telling you, we know.
Uh,
We
we're
know
gonna have to
everything.
disagree on this.
Are you a Star Wars fan?
I didn't watch Star Wars till I was in college,
Okay.
and so my roommate, he decided, he was like, "All right, look, this is a great point in your life because you get to watch everything in chronological order." So I got to watch Star Wars for the first time. I may have watched them as a kid, but didn't really retain a whole lot of information from it. So he starts me off with the newest 3 episodes, right? And that was the start of everything, and then went into the later the 80s episodes. So I got to watch it in chronological order. But when I went from the new to the old, it was really tough to watch
Okay.
because
So
I didn't watch them growing up. I wasn't a big Star Wars fan growing up.
so
I watched sports.
this is where Disney has really messed it up. So you got to watch it in chronological order. So this was the brilliant of George Lucas with those movies, was jumping right into the middle of action, right? You didn't know the backstory. You didn't know what was going on. You were just
Right.
like, "Oh my goodness, this is happening. This is going on. This is amazing." You know, the special effects were fantastic. The storyline was fantastic, and the brilliance with that is, as you learned more and more as the movies unfolded, you realized what was going on. It was a, you know, I don't know, kind of Lord of the Rings kind of thing, you know, for people who didn't read the books watching these movies.
Right.
And so we have lost that magic. And I wanted to show you. So I think with Darth Vader, and the biggest problem they have is they jumped into the original series, the original movies, the first three, just right into it with a strong character that everybody recognized was evil and bad. It didn't have to be explained, right? You knew that that was the bad guy because he was so evil. Just the presence of seeing the character, you needed no explanation. And I think what
Right.
Disney needs to do is they need to start all over. They need to go back to an evil character that has that gravitas that Darth Vader originally have, and just jump right into the middle of the entire thing and just say, "This is what's happening." Don't get any politics involved, don't get anything involved, just go straight to the action. So there's a character, and I'm going to show him to you, that I think is on par with Darth Vader, that they could pull this off with, and just go into Jedi's fighting, and just go into the Sith fighting, and just go straight into a future space epic movie, just like the original Star Wars did, and do that. And I'm going to pull this character up for you right now so you can see him and tell me what you think. So have you ever seen this character, Darth Malgus? Take a look at this guy and tell me what you think. I mean, look at this. I mean, you talk about someone, and he predates Darth Vader. I mean, look at this character and think, could you imagine this guy coming out now? Yeah. I mean, you can completely rewrite Star Wars with this character. You can completely just drop everything that has been done and just completely start over in the middle of this, which allows you to go back and do prequels and continue with movies and do storylines and just erase the mistakes you've made so far.
I mean, can you though?
Absolutely, you can, because you have this.
You can't erase. I mean, you can't undo what's already been done.
No, but if you go back to what worked, and you just jump in the middle of a character without developing that character and just show the action and just show the raw emotions of the actors. Because I mean, honestly, the problem we have with these movies right now is in a zombie apocalypse, does anybody care about your gender? Does anybody care about your preference or anything, or is it just survival? Do people want to watch, or do they want to watch the survival? They want, right? I mean, they don't care about
Yeah.
your politics, who
Everybody
you're
cares about the
voting for.
apocalypse, right?
They want to watch. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Is it's all about what's going on. Your politics are irrelevant during a zombie apocalypse. So get back to the basics. Get back to the raw emotions and capture the
Well,
audience.
hold on. So you brought up a good point. Nobody cares about the politics, right?
Absolutely.
So backtrack to what we were talking about with the World Cup. There are so many people that have come over here saying politics be damned. They just love the country. They love the Chick-fil-A, the Cokes, like we talked about last time.
They're people
Uh,
having fun supporting their team.
Supporting their team, absolutely. But that's what I'm saying is there is no animosity with people coming over here.
Absolutely
People
not.
think that Americans hate anybody that's not American, and it's not true. It's not.
Dude, as a matter of
I mean,
fact,
we're all
it's
immigrants at the end of the day.
I mean, the most successful people, I mean, you get back to what we've talked about during this entire podcast is okay, Sean Connery with his accent, Dolph Lundgren with his accent, Conor McGregor with his accent, right? Is when somebody steps in that's got an accent like that, you know, people listen. They're different. People in America pay attention to people who are different than them. And it's not in a bad way, and it's actually in a good way because it's like, oh, hold on a second, it's interesting. We love different people here in this country, and you can say what you want. I love different foods. I love different people. The most interesting people I've met in my life are from other countries. It is so interesting to hear what they have to say. All right, dad jokes. Let's hear what you got, dude. It's got to be good. Let's hear
Yeah.
what do you got. What do you got? Dad jokes.
You see that movie
What movie?
about the hot dog?
About the hot dog? What hot dog?
Yeah, there's an Oscar wiener.
That's what my daughter would say.
All right, what you got?
What does a baby computer call his father?
What?
Dada. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Because Ken
What?
came in another box. What did Cinderella say to Prince Charming? Want to see if
What?
it fits?
Only the tip.
How did Burger King get Dairy Queen pregnant? He
Make
forgot
that
to wrap
milkshake.
his Whopper. You ever come across a joke that is so horribly wrong that it's funny but painful at the exact same time? I found that joke. Oh, it's bad.
Let's hear it.
What do you call a cheap circumcision?
The rain above it.
A ripoff.
Mm.
Oh, ooh, dude, that.
Tell my wife she looks sexy with her hair back. Apparently, that's insensitive with her when she's going through chemo.
Oh, oh. Okay, okay. How do you
Oh,
spot a
shit.
blind person at a nude beach? It's not hard.
All right. This is where it goes off the rails.
Okay.
What's the difference between a Catholic priest and a pimple?
I'm afraid to ask, but what?
At least a pimple waits till you're a teenager to come on your face.
Oh, I'm gonna have to respell that in the closed caption for sure. Okay, okay. What's the difference between a golf ball and a G spot? A guy will actually search for the golf ball.
So we can't regurgitate, other shit, right?
Right. And this is going to be one of those things. We'll just clip it and do the next one. So if you find something, yeah, it's all in the editing, and this will make a great short. So so what do we want to talk about next, man?
I don't know, man. I'm out for tonight.
So let me ask you this. Let me get into some questions here, then, man. What do you think about being a man today? What is what is the responsibilities of a man today? What do you think as a father and a husband you're responsible to do for your family?
All right. So two things. One, I think the fact that we were raised in a certain generation, we have our responsibilities. We know what our responsibilities are. Take care of our family, money, household, insurance, all that, right? That's our given that we're supposed to do. However, in today's lay of land, these kids don't know what a man is. They don't know those basics. Those are the basics. Provide for your family, protect your family, um, pretty much it, right? Uh,
So let me ask you this:
today's
if I was to ask you, what is a man's job? What would you say the man's job is? If you were telling a kid, say 14, 15-year-old kid, you're raising them, this is what a man does. What would you say?
protector of the house, provider of the house, and wise beyond his years.
So, and I think you're 100% correct. How do you think that plays into feminism today with what we see with women taking on more of the roles of a man, whether it's a bad thing or how does that break down?
So here's the analogy that I heard long ago. I'm sure I'm recreating this from somebody else, but here's how the analogy goes. Uh, the woman wants you to, or the woman wants the man to open the door for her, right? When they go to a restaurant, open the car door,
Mm-hmm.
open the restaurant door, pull her seat back, all that, right? Buy
Right.
her dinner, buy her drinks, uh, make sure she's nice and tucked in bed.
Mm-hmm.
The man's job is to make sure that all that goes off without a hitch. Also, make sure that the household is secure. Okay.
Correct.
Now, what happens when the woman wants somebody to get a spider or this or that in the household, but yet she doesn't want to pay for dinner or she doesn't want to provide for the family?
So I guess what you're getting at is equal rights along with equal responsibilities.
So you want me to hold the door, but you don't want to get the spider.
Correct.
Well, and I think I messed that up. Honestly, I think I messed that up. There was a way that's supposed to go, and I don't think I did it right.
No, I think you got it. I think you hit it spot on. I think there's a big problem with masculinity in this country and what a man is supposed to do, and women being told that they can be equal with a man, but not understanding what equal means. Equal is a
Yeah,
partnership.
100%.
Equal is a partnership. A woman completes a
Yeah,
man, and a man completes a woman. Women are better at other things, and men are better at other things, and together the unit makes one, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of
yeah.
times with society,
Well, that's
people
why
get
when you marry, it's called a union.
correct. But I think in society,
Right.
people get caught up with what is seen on TV or what is on the news or what is considered to be a prestigious position. So let's look at the
Yeah,
role of a past.
you want to be this badass woman, but yet you're not willing to do what it takes to be the equal partner.
Right.
If
So
you want to
let's
be the badass woman, if you want equal, then you do the equal part of the loop.
so let's look at, for instance, in the church, the pastor. Right. So we know that the pastor spiritually and scripturally is called to be a man because he's responsible for the overseeing of the church. And a lot of people have a problem with that because they want a say, well, a woman can do that equally as a man. But what they don't talk about is what happens to the person who leads that church. They are responsible for what those members of that church do and what happens. They never talk about the responsibility. They only talk about the prestige, the fact that you see a man on TV, a man being seen on TV, a man in this position of power and control, and that's what women should be able. But it's not in religion. It's not a position of power or control. It's a position of responsibility. And if you're not willing to be responsible for what you say and teach and preach, it is not the same thing as being seen as a I don't know. I guess I'm trying to say is that people think it's a prestigious position because you see so many people like Joe Olstein on TV, for instance, who think, "Oh, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to have all this money."